Hey everybody, it's Mike Sullivan with Born to Shine. Today we have a really interesting and cool guest. Her name is Lara Dixon, and she is at Michigan State in beautiful Michigan. And Lara has a super long, interesting, important title that I'm going to butcher, so I'm not even going to try. Can you help us with that? Like, how would you introduce yourself, Laura?
Absolutely. I'm Lara, and I'm Michigan State University's College of Education, Director of Educator Preparation and Accreditation, and Assistant Professor for K-12 Administration. And what that means is I have 4 different colleges and 27 degree programs, and I bring the leaders together so that we know each other and can make great decisions to prepare future teachers and future principals and superintendents in P-12. And then I teach as a professor master's and doctoral classes for future principals and superintendent.
I love it. That is such a cool role. And for
Mhm.
someone out there that's a teacher or that wants to be a teacher or someone that's an admin and they want to become a soup, I just think this is going to be a cool convo. So thanks for carving out some time for us today.
My
And
honor.
so what was your journey like? You were a teacher, you were a
Mhm.
director on the admin side, and now you're teaching people how to be teachers and directors. What was your journey like? That's really interesting.
So I started in Ohio. I had
Mhm.
incredible mentors. My first position was in the inner city at a school that was 99.9% African American, 96% free and reduced lunch, and I was in love. And my students taught me so much more than I taught them. And my administrator received his own building in the same school district. At the time, he had 68,000 students in the Toledo Public Schools, and asked me to be his assistant principal. So I left the classroom early, but it was the most incredible honoring journey. I loved being a high school principal and for a little bit of elementary principal. And my joy is working with diverse people because finding commonality and understanding and learning the beauty in all of us
Mm.
and finding success for and with people is the best job in the world.
That is so beautiful. That's awesome. Yeah, connecting, having a sense of unity, togetherness, everyone's important. I love that. And when you were somewhere in K-12,
Yeah.
was there anything? Oh, and I guess we talked about this beforehand. It's usually, is there anything that you struggled with? And it sounded like personally, you had a great mom, and everything was pretty much smooth sailing, and you have a wonderful child now. But maybe can you share maybe a little bit of that struggle as a principal?
Sure. As a principal and even later as the center office leader, you know, every day you want to do your very best for and with people, but time is such a beast and
Mhm.
people need so much more than you can possibly begin to give or navigate. And so it's all about that journey of learning where are my priorities and how do I shift and how do I show every day that I care about you and value you and do something that actually makes a difference.
Mm.
And so some days you win it and some days you don't. And the days you don't, you rely on your buddies. And I believe in team collaborative leadership for everything because not any of us can do it alone.
And how absolutely so true. It takes a village to raise a child. That is such a simple saying, but it's so true. And school districts are the tribe. How I think you touched on mental health a little
Mhm.
earlier. Do you mind sharing that too when you were a
Sure.
principal?
So when I was a principal, I've had students with special needs, 20% of the buildings. I've had students, unfortunately, murder other students,
Mm.
do things that are very tough. It's very rare. It's very extreme. And part of that taught me so much, but always look, always know, and always keep perspective. Because even though so many of us struggle with mental health and emotional wellness or just being liked and feeling like we belong, those extremes are truly less than 1%. And we need to every day bring our best self with joy for the 99.9% who are there because they want to be and they need to be. And we need to make sure that we're loving them up and making life better for them.
Yep, absolutely. Loving them up, making life better. And what what I've learned is that mental illness is invisible, right? So we can
Yep.
go in, and even myself, we can smile and say everything's great, but inside it could be a real dark, challenging place. And teachers can't see it, superintendents can't see it, even school psychologists say we don't see it most of the time.
Right.
So it's just constantly supporting you, having programs come in for kids like you matter, you're important, you have value. We need you, quite frankly, and then supporting each other. So it's you're right. The things like murder in school that I'm guessing is extraordinarily low, but what
Yes.
causes that, right? It's that darkness. It's that lack of being seen, valued, heard. So it's it's just important now more than ever for kids to have this support and get tools because schools don't teach it. So having programs that come in and say, "Hey, here's a couple simple tools. It's going to help enhance your life, and we love you and you matter." So and that's not only for students, teachers. I'm sure you saw this as a principal, right? My mom was a teacher. You were a teacher. It doesn't end when you go home, and there's a lot of weight on their shoulders. Then it's more weight on a principal, then even more weight for the admin. So taking care of their mental health is important as well. And you, as a mother, probably know that too, right? Because you have to
Absolutely.
take care of yourself to take care of your child. I learned that from my parents. So,
Yeah.
but what is, I guess, if you're noticing some things that worked well when you were a
Mhm.
principal or an admin within your district to support the K-12 kids with their mental health, and what were some gaps? Because every superintendent says, we're doing this, but we notice, wow, there's so many gaps. We have to bring in all these other programs.
Absolutely. I think the most important thing is having an understanding and known systems that are very transparent and that we know who's working together on what and why and to what depth and to what anticipated result. And then who are we doing as a whole? Who are our targeted supports? Where are our tiered supports? Where are our emergency supports? And how do I ensure that people are trained, comfortable, and have those resources? How do I continuously onboard new students and new staff members? And just having that systematic process that becomes a part of the school culture. And I think that's another part because kids change and so do your staff. And so we have to change with them. And to constantly have a system that we want to have as stable and yet flexible and nimble, and one that is in Michigan, not exactly funded. We have all of these
Mm,
goals
mm,
and mandates and so little funding, and so many people needing and wanting to do more, but there's only so much time. It's a tough balance. And so you need those super leaders who are going to really have the balcony view and be able to cut through and then find out where success and where are gaps. And with gaps, for me, I've always looked at the gaps of, do we really know our kids?
mm,
And what are we doing for the kids who aren't known? And what are we doing for the staff who aren't known?
mm,
And and supporting that way. And then how do we just have, I used to call them SWAT teams of joy, who will bring in fun and bring in brilliance, let people come up with ideas. Like one of the things they did was they would write a note to every single student in the school, and it became so popular as a surprise. And the parents all bought food and gifts, and then the kids would surprise the staff and write notes to the staff.
mm,
But when the people in the cafeteria and the bus received a personalized note from a kid, they cried
mm.
because they'd never been included. And so looking at our systems and saying we all matter, it takes time and a lot of work, but there's nothing more important. And then after you get people to belong, then the real work. How are we successful? Where are we not? With achievement, specifically individually and collectively. And that's data, that's systems, that's time, that processes, and that's time on task as a leader.
I love it. Just the fact that you're writing a handwritten note from some kiddo to someone that feels like they're not seen, maybe a bus driver, maybe a teacher, maybe the
Right.
it could even be a principal or someone in the cafeteria, right? The people that maybe don't get the, hey, thank you. I really appreciate you. And I always appreciate how kind you are to me every day. And then to get a letter like that, that's awesome. That's really cool, actually. I haven't heard that before and I love it. My dad's always about writing a handwritten letter, instead of an email, right? Old school, put a stamp on and handwrite the letter and the envelope. So I think that's really cool. And if there's anything that's on your heart, Lara, that you want to share, maybe it's with someone on the admin side, maybe it's someone on the teacher side, maybe it's a student listening to this, or maybe it's a parent, whoever that is. If you have any words of wisdom or encouraging thoughts, whatever's on your heart, what would that be?
That would be love yourself.
Mm,
We all have such value, and we all are able to help and be better for others if we love ourselves. And if you don't love yourself, then come see me and talk to me, and I'll find out all the ways that I think you're incredible. And if not me, somebody else, because if you can't see how great you are, let somebody else show you.
I love that. That's so beautiful. That's actually at the heart of Born to Shine, loving ourselves, right? Because if we really are struggling inside, which many people are, because we can't see the beautiful gifts that God gave us, maybe someone else can see it. So that is actually really, I love that you brought that up, Lara, because if we can't see it, like oftentimes I might not see it in me, but someone else will say, "Oh no, but you're creative in the way you use your music to connect people and how you can help others see that blessing and that gift that they have is really important." So thank you for sharing your time, Lara, your heart. You obviously are a mama bear for the whole district and how you want unity, togetherness, making people feel seen and heard and valued. I mean, that just shines right through you. So thank you for making time for us today.
Thank you. My joy and honor.